today's lesson, from the today's session, I am going to discuss the leadership and interpersonal skill development, because you know that when you analyze the entrepreneur, he is the person who accepts the risks, who has to work in a risky environment, as well as he has to work as a manager, innovator, and he has to play a lot of roles to make a success of his business and the innovation. So he has to have a leadership characteristics, as well as when he is going to get the work done from the workers, he has to have a good interpersonal skills to get the work from other subordinates or from his team. So I decided to discuss the leadership and the interpersonal skill development for the entrepreneurs in this lesson. So under this lesson, I will discuss the leadership and motivation, communication skills, network, and confirmation and conflicts, dealing with the confirmations, and strategies for dealing with conflicts, and negotiation and ethics. So these are some basic needs for the entrepreneur. Those who want to practice the entrepreneur, he or she must develop these characteristics with him. So actually, when you consider the universal framework model, universal model of the leadership, so you can see there are some different layers. For an example, the latter one, this is called, actually I got this one from the leadership circle, ecocentric. Then another layer is called the reactive and creative. So the integral and uninvited. Unitive, actually. Unitive is the most important one. So the leadership circle, 360 profiles, it's called the 360 profiles. Development ceiling, up to this one, it's called the development ceiling. We'll try to understand this model later in this lesson. So when you consider the leader, sometimes the leader and the manager, you have to understand the who is the leader and who is the manager. So who is a leader? If your action inspires others to dream one, learn more, and become more, you are a leader. Your action inspires others. That means you have to have this action inspire. You have to have a good what we call others must accept what you are saying. That means you have to have more knowledgeable, and also your words must accept by others. Your thinking is advanced, and when you tell something, others will accept. So that's why we told that John Adams says that if your action inspires, if you do a certain action, others will inspire to dream more, as well as learn more and become more. You are a leader. So becoming a leader, how can you become a leader? So you have to get out from your comfort zone. You have to get out from your comfort zone. If you are what we call the comfort, living in a certain zone, you have to get out from that one. Then study leaders that you look up. So sometimes you have to follow some great leaders, how they get the decisions, how they act, how they handle the subordinates, how to get the decisions. And most of the time, when the great leaders get the decision, they analyze all the scenarios of that problem. They are not merely get the decision. So you have to study the great leaders' characteristics as well as how they behave. Especially, you have to understand how they behave for a certain problems and encourage yourself. You have to encourage by yourself. When a certain after a certain incident, you never give up or you never frustrate. You have to always study if you have any failures, and you have to act the next time without having such failures. Also, take advice from other leaders. If you are a innocent, if you are a good leader, you can get the advice from your senior leaders, or else if without the senior or junior, if someone say a certain important thing, you have to accept it. And if it is if it can implemented by yourself, so you have to do it. And also research and gather the resources. Always when the great leaders speak, they have some evidence. They always keep the evidence. So how they gather the evidence? They normally gather this evidence by reading books, by referring the books, as well as not only the books, they refer the internet and get the ideas. And especially in your as you are a student, you have to listen in the tech talks, regardless of the field you are studying, whether it is ICT or the ET or the agriculture or the IAT. So you can have some you have to see some video clips of the tech talks. Actually, ICT and IAT, we can find the tech talks in YouTube. But for an example, the agriculture students, they can get the new techniques of planting, and you know that different cultures are there. So the different new techniques to breed the plants. Likewise, you have to study all those things and research. Create a plan. You have to have a plan, as well as perfect your craft. Perfect your craft means when you get a decision and when you do a certain action, that must be perfect. There may have some rarely you may have some mistakes, but not frequently. If you are a great leader, you have to get the perfect decisions. But sometimes when you choose some leaders, but we never we couldn't expect. Actually, there are some decisions that they take we never expect. So sometimes if you treat a person as a leader, he has to have these characteristics. So then what is this the meaning of this leader, Leader? Normally, leader must listen to the others, as well as expect the best. He always expects the best and achieves all, as well as determined to do, never give up, and encouragement, as well as finally respect to the others. So that we can summarize these letters as this: listen, expect the best, achieves, determine, encouragement, and respect. So, qualities of the leaders actually ability to adapt to changes. So, always you have to adapt the changes if it is correct. If that change is effective and correct, you will have to adapt it. And strategic thinking, not like the general. Leader must show the pathway for the others, so that your thinking must be strategic. Strategic thinking, others always expect the strategic thinking. And positive mindset, sometimes we can say as the you know that there are two peoples, pessimistic and optimistic, and the positive and the negative. So always positive mindset. And vision, you have a vision, the leader must have a vision, and not the short-sighted, the long-sighted person, as well as good communication. Communicate to the others clear and concise, that means short and sweet. Simply we can say short and sweet communication, as well as openness. So openness means there is no any hides. So explain everything. If it is important to the others, he has to explain it. Openness. And diverse as well as team player. He must be the leader for the team. So these are some qualities of the leaders. Then you can think, unless you have some of these characteristics, you had better try to develop those characteristics with you. Then you will become a leader. If you always struggle with the others, so you can gradually adapt and make that weaknesses to listen to the others. And also we expect great thinking from our leaders, and these expectations constitute the promise of the leadership. Expect the great things of the leaders, but these expectations constitute the promise of the leadership. So you know that there are some leaders, they said that when I come to the power, I will do this thing. But those are merely words. They never do that. So in that case, we have to have a question whether they are leaders, especially when you consider the politicians. Before they come to the power, they do and they pretend as the great leaders. But what would happen? That is up to you to think. And great leaders create great culture, regardless of the dominant culture in the organization. Great leader creates the great culture, regardless of the dominant culture of the organization. They are not going to practice the existing traditional culture. They want to have a new culture. And even when you call to the others, if a great leader, he might change that one. So there are some companies, they call for the subordinates and the managers from the first name, not like the sir or Mr. or like that. And when they call from the first name, they feel that they are close to the people, leaders. Sometimes others will see that is an odd thing to call for the leaders as from the first name. But if the organization culture is there, the people who are working there will not have a strange feeling. So and also in the other case, you know that the leaders actually, there are two types of circles, inner circles and the outer circles. Inner circle actually, if a leader has some inner circle and that circle has a certain set of people, he always speak with the first name and not like the sir or madam or something like that. And leaders set the agenda for the future. That means they have the definite plan, agenda. So that actually continues to the vision and the mission of the company. So if you are a good entrepreneur, as I told you before, entrepreneur is a person who innovate as well as who work as a manager, and also he who has to control the capital as well as the raw material and the market, and he has to work in a risky environment. Whether his innovation, he does not know whether his innovation accepted by the customers. If that product or service accepts by the customer, so he can win. Otherwise, he will fail. So that he has to work in a risky environment. In such case, if the leader has a good agenda or the plan for the future, and not only the one plan, sometimes the plan A and the plan B also. If in any case the plan A fail, he has to implement the plan B to survive in the business world. And the influence is so pervasive. So normally the leaders not always speak with the others, and if they speak with others, their words are very, very important and values. So when you consider the more about the characteristics, leaders who are dedicated to creating and thriving, that is normally thriving means the booming, the business and workers' sustainable collective welfare. So if he is a leader, he always see the welfare of the subordinate or the workers, those who are working with him, and collective welfares. And also leaders exhibit the creative capacity to invent the future and the capability of holding dedicate balance between the short-term profitability and the long-term common goods. So that's why I told you he has a long-term and the short-term plan and the vision and the mission. So and those are connected to the plan. Actually, ultimately, the leader must manage or provide the leadership for the team to manage the organization or successfully, if it is a profit-making organization, having more profit and also lasting that position, the profit-making position as long as they can. So consider actually sometimes when you consider the multinational companies like the Microsoft company and any other company, so consider the car manufacturing company, the president is there, but there is a group of directors and others. So they get the collective decisions. Each of them has the same qualities, the leadership qualities as well as the characteristics we discussed. So then when they get the decision, they get the collective decisions. So for an example, if they want to be the market leaders, they analyze what they have to do. If it is a Microsoft company, they are going to introduce the new operating systems once in 5 years or 3 to 5 years time. So they actually, when we consider the those operating systems, you can't find the drastic changes, but you can find some slight changes, sometimes appearance or add new features like that. But they want to keep the customers as long as they can. That's why one of the target of those companies there. When you analyze the Toyota company, they are going to change the model, the minor changes after 3 years time, and the drastic change they will do after 5 years time, so that those who use the Toyota cars, they change their cars for the new models, and they want to keep the customers as long as they can. But when you consider the entrepreneur, if you want to work as an entrepreneur, but you have to work in a risky environment with limited capital, and also with uncertainty is there, and your products, you don't have enough money to spend. In such case, you could understand the opportunity, and you have some several ideas. From that ideas, you could select the optimal one and develop the. In such case, you have to make a success of your business with that limited resources and risky environment. In such case, you have to have a good plan. So practicing these leadership characteristics, somehow you can manage your business and make a success. And next, when you consider competencies that the leaders must have to link between the leadership skills and business results. The competencies, normally we call the core competencies, and one is the core market share. Core competencies to make a success of the business, you have to have a core market share as well as core competencies, and the good team. The core competencies means you have to have an expert of that the field. For an example, if you are going to let's say you are going to start a IT company with your friend after the graduation. If you have some if you normally if you unless you like to work in a company under a certain person, you want to be the leader by yourself. I explained earlier, you want to be the leader by yourself. You want to control the subordinates, and also you want to start a new business and provide the service. From that service, you want to earn something. In such case, you can be the entrepreneur. When you want to be the entrepreneur, you must have some core competency. Core competency means if you want to be if you want to start a IT company, definitely you will have to have a knowledge about the IT, computer science. And from that computer science also, there may have some several fields: web development, data science, and likewise. So you have to have a good knowledge about a certain field, and then you can practice and you can develop some innovative software in that case, in that fields. I will give some example. One of my students, and now he is running a very, very good business. When I tell the name, you can understand. The Arimac. He was my student actually. Then he is actually design, computer aided design. He did design. Now he is one of the giant he is running one of the giant company in Sri Lanka, and mobile applications as well as web development, and also not only that, some visuals, design some visuals likewise. So he has that competency. So what is that core market share? From that products, you have to have a market share, the portion from the market. And if you can you can gradually get the market share. If you have a core competency in the core market share, definitely you can make a success of your business. And also, the leaders may have a set of responsibilities: the formulating strategies, creating visions, providing training to the others, as well as listening to the other members, communicate the ideas. You are not going to implement only your idea. You have to communicate with the others and see whether that idea is the best one or the better one to implement, and resolve any problems. So you have to resolve if there are some problems, and invest time to grab the knowledge, to teach, or to listen to the others and communicate ideas, and you have to invest the time for those things. Then what is leadership? Leadership actually ability to influence a group towards the achievement of the goals. Ability to influence a group towards the achievement of the goal. So if you can manage the group and get the required work done from that group, that also very, very important. Not all leaders are managers. No, all managers are leaders. Not all leaders are managers, and no, all managers are leaders. So managers always do the what you call the always ask his subordinates and orders the subordinates to do, but leaders always let's do, and likewise. Good leaders display the ability, creativity and confidence. Ability, creativity and the confidence of the work they are going to do. Also, he gets cooperations, willingness and builds employee morale and motivation. So always build the employees' morale. That also very, very important. And ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Once again, we can discuss these characteristics. Set the right direction and create the meaningful work. That means called the top management. Actually, when you consider the decisions that takes the top management, the number of decisions are very, very low, very, very few. But the value is sometimes to change the whole process of the company and make a next era. So their number of decisions are very little, but the value is very high. Engage all stakeholders and hold them accountable for performance, and ensure that the process and the system facilitate focus and execution. Lead effectively. Maintain a leadership or trust to achieve. The actually leader, one of the another characteristic is others trust on that leader. Always think that he will do. His idea is the best idea. Likewise, and sustain desired results. The sustain desired results. Always also set the right direction and create the meaningful work. Actually, we have created discussed previously. Engage all that also discussed. Actually, they may have a thing. When you consider the effectiveness, leadership effectiveness, so we can see four promises. Actually, promise of the leadership. We know called the promise of the leadership, direction and meaning, and also engagement and accountability, as well as focus execution. These three can be promises of the effectiveness of the leadership. The broken leadership promise. This also we have to discuss to understand what are the broken leadership promises. The leaders who keep their promises boost their credibility and build trust. Those who break promises, understand that those who break promises to their employees lose credibility and trust. As long as you keep these promises, boost their credibility and build the trust, the employees will respect you. Otherwise, if you break the promises to their employees and lose the credibility and trust, they will never respect. Leaders who seek near-term profit at the expense of sustainability and long-term growth and breaking a promise. So these things can be easily understand. So actually, if you want to be the leader, I think you have seen that some people have the born characteristics. They are not. Others actually accept that he is a leader. There are some leaders that they don't have any born characteristics for the leadership, and they try to adapt those characteristics. Leaders who avoid discussing potential pitfalls during the change initiative and breaking the promise. Leaders who do not make it safe to fail and breaking the promise. Also, competencies that the leader must have to link between the leadership skills and business result. So, unless they cannot link these competencies, that also a broken leadership promise. And also leaders who are unclear in their messaging, avoid difficult situations or react defensively to feedback are breaking promises. Sometimes you have seen that if in the critical situation they are going to leave that place. So I don't think that they are leaders. If they are leaders, they can have the ability to control such situation, and others, they can have characteristics to control the others. I think you can find some examples. Plenty of examples are there. When a certain critical situation happens, they will leave. Then what is interpersonal skills? Interpersonal skills also very, very important to how to react with the others. That also, when we consider these interpersonal skills are the skills we use every day. We have to use every day when we communicate and interact with other people, even your friends, as well as you will have to interact with the lecturers, as well as if you are in internship period, you have to interact with the office workers, as well as sometimes some of them are in the fields, you have to interact with the workers there, and in the industry you will have to work with the people. So how you maintain your interpersonal skills. So that both individually and so you have to develop individually and in a group. They include a wide range of skills, but particularly communication skills such as listening and effective speaking. If you are a good listener, that means others also respect you. If you are a good listener and give the reasonable as well as reasonable solution for their problems, definitely you will be very popular with others as a good listener. So they also include the ability to control and manage your emotions. And control and manage your emotions. Sometimes you may have some anger feeling with your subordinate or your friends. You have to control those emotions. And leadership skills are sometimes referred to as the social skills, people skills, soft skills, and life skills. You can read more about this in this link. I think in your you can download and see. Let's try to see that one. Here you can see interpersonal skills. From that you can read to get more idea about the interpersonal skills. So that is, you can see, you can read this document at your home. So then the interpersonal skills actually all about working with other people. Interpersonal skills are an ability to get along with others while performing the job. You have to, when you go to the industry, especially the ICT, IAT and others, they have to work with the people as a group, or they have to work in a project. In a project consists of a group of people. So you have to work with the others. You have to have this. You have to maintain the good interpersonal skills, the characteristics, traits like and manners, attitudes, courtesy, habits, behavior, and appearance, which help us to communicate and maintain the relationship with others. Okay, then understand this, the characteristic trait like manners. You know what are the manners? Attitude with the, don't criticize the one person with the others, and he will the others will get the listener will get an bad image about you. And courtesy and the habits, you have to have a good habit and the behavior. And appearance, which help us to communicate and maintain the relationship. Appearance also, in the first, normally appearance is very very important. Consider that if someone comes to your group having a long beard, with having a long hair, and wearing casuals means extreme casual wears. So what would happen if someone comes to the lectures like having a shorts or the pants likewise? So the appearance is very very important. First of all, the people see your external appearance, then they will have an image from that appearance. After that, from your behavior, from your speak, and from your attitude, from your manners as well as courtesiness measures, you are about you. So that those are very very important for the interpersonal skills. And organizational context. What is that organizational context? Organizational context of how interpersonal skills are used also can be shown by the vast number of interpersonal interactions. So this actually how you shows your interpersonal skills while you are working. Take the relationship viewpoint, effective relationship with the organization, effective relationship with the if you have a set of suppliers, and effective relationship with the competitors, you can have some relationship with the competitors. And another one is to gain real competitive advantage through such relationship in the long term is depend on your level of interpersonal skills. If you are honest, as well as how make your friendship with the others and how to speak with the others, when you honor for your superiors and when you respect the others, they will have a good image about you, and the words that you use to speak with them, you never criticize the others, you never speak the weak points of the others, and they will respect you that you are a good person. Also, what you have to improve, we can summarize, you have to improve your relationship, and you have to improve the working environment, leadership skills, productivity, and also others must have an image about you if you work hard and always try to achieve the given goals, and finish the work in a given time. Those are the characteristics of measuring about you and all round success and linking by the others. If you have a friendship with all the people without any criticizing, then you can make this interpersonal skills. So here you can see why interpersonal skill need. Actually, when you consider these interpersonal skills, there are three types: oral, written, and non-verbal also. Non-verbal also very, very important. Then how you look at the people, and all that also not the verbal. And you can see that the oral means the presentation, audience awareness, and critical listening, body language. Written means academic, when you write something, academic writing, reviewing or editing. And when you write certain, consider that you are a manager of a certain company. If someone asks to write the recommendation about someone, so if you have to write the actuals and write the good things, as well as if there are some weaknesses, you have to not highlight his weaknesses more than his strengths. So then if you write like that, that will be a good characteristics of a good leader. And if you highlight the weaknesses than the strength he has, what would happen? He asks the recommendation to get a certain position from the different company, and you have to give that. And sometimes you think that if he leaves your company, it will be a great vacuum. But regardless of that, you better to, unless you like to give the recommendation, you can directly tell, I am not like to leave you from our company, so I can't give the recommendation. Okay. So interpersonal skills, and personality development, and the leadership skills these three are very, very important for developing the interpersonal skill. So when and where interpersonal skills are required at workplace, so you have to understand when and where. While working in a group from effective team and socializing at workplace as well as presenting yourself at work, listening and questioning, and giving or receiving feedback, building and maintaining the relationship. Listening and questioning, actually this is also I will give you some example. One of my friend, actually he is a senior lecturer later, so he told that when the viva sessions is conducted by him, he asked the questions not to give any advantage for the students. He always asked the questions to make a trouble. So I don't know what is his attitude for that one. And the student, actually they are definitely, we have to ask the question whether they have grabbed the knowledge. But if we ask the question out of the syllabus, or else what we haven't taught them, that will not fair. So there are some people, those who have such ideas, not all, but there are few people like that. They always try to make a trouble for the even the leaders also. And tips to improve your interpersonal skills: pay attention. The important thing is the pay attention. And if you are a entrepreneur and you have a set of workers, you have to pay the attention for the workers, what the workers are saying. And sometimes they are giving some important ideas to develop the product or the service that you are going to develop, and they may have some different methods and to improve your business. So you have to pay the attention, as well as next one is practice active listening. Not the you have to listening carefully while you are doing the work. If you listening to that one, that the teller says that you are not going to pay the full attention for what he is saying. You have seen some doctors also, while the patient is explaining the symptoms that he or she has, the doctor is writing. Sometimes actually he is paying the attention what he's going to say by the patients, but he is writing. Sometimes some patient says that the doctor did not give the pay the full attention about his symptoms. And bring people together. You have to bring people together and resolve the conflicts. If there are any conflicts in the work environment, you have to resolve it. You are not going to add the fuel to burn that, to get the situation worse, but you have to solve those conflicts and giving some fair decisions for those parties. And also communicate clearly. Communication is very, very important. When you speak, you can speak the convenient language, whether it is Sinhala or English, that is not a big problem. When you speak, you have to be comfort and simple, and normally called the short and sweet, and not harming to the others from your words. Okay. Also, continuously, not having the pauses between the words and others. In the same, you know that the way you speak with your friends and the way you make a speech is different, and you have to speak clearly as well as precisely to understand the others, and always listen and communicate clearly. Next one is humor team. Actually, you can encourage the team by having a joke, or else doing some not actually, when you make a joke also, not harm to the others, and you can keep all these people together. And empathy, as well as see it on their side. There are two words, sympathy and empathy. When someone tells the problem he has, so first of all, don't tell that, don't get it seriously, or that is a simple thing. If it is a simple thing, he will not tell to you about that. If that problem is serious to him, that's why he told to you. So in that time, you have to think from his side, his or her side, see it on their side. That's why. So yes, when don't say that is a simple thing, or take it easy. Always go see it from their side, his side, and say yes, and that is a serious, and but you can start from the but. Shall we do like this? Or if it happens to me, I always felt like that. And likewise, by telling him to make a relax from from that problem, and don't complain too much. If you complain to the others, that also very, very bad thing, and also others will not respect. And those are the things that you have to practice.